Hello.
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 Did you know that movie stars get their hair cut every day?
We were wondering if we could come in and talk to you at great lengths about the Lord.
The Lord.
Sure, come on in.
Now is my review for the Heretic, or the Heretic. That opening clip is Kids in the Hall, Gavin meets Mormons. So everybody's hyping this movie, The Heretic. I'm just going to say Heretic. It might be pronounced Heretic. I don't really care. Is it good? Question mark. Now, it might be a coincidence or an irony. I'm not sure if there's any difference anymore in this day and age. But a month ago, I was recalling the bittersweet moments when Hugh Grant got arrested for hiring a prostitute named Divine Brown. But let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the movie The Heretic. But let's first make sure we know the definition of the word. I think a heretic is somebody who goes against your religion. Yeah, so I looked it up, and yeah, it's somebody who practices heresy, which I often get confused with the word hearsay. But yeah, a heretic is basically somebody who is against your beliefs. In particular, your spiritual beliefs. The movie is starring Sophie Thatcher, who is a hot chick. She was in the movie Boogeyman, and I'm afraid to call her a hot chick because I don't know how old she is. But she's going to be huge, I think, in the future. And I don't know who the other chick is, but she's fine. And I'll be reviewing this as I watch it. Okay, so it starts with, so two hot, young, white, stupid chicks knock on a door. And I'm already sold on that premise. Okay, wait, hold that thought. Let's talk about the directors for a second. And writers. So The Heretic was written and directed by the same two guys. They both wrote it, they both directed it. They also directed and wrote A Quiet Place and Haunt. Now, A Quiet Place sucks. That's just a really crappy movie. It was a fluke that it succeeded, but whatever. Idiots. People have their taste. And then Haunt was just a movie about like a bunch of punks. It was so bad I don't even want to talk about it. It was produced by Eli Roth, who's like the worst thing ever. Just a terrible movie. So these guys kind of already suck. And as I watched this movie, I realized the runtime is 1 hour and 46 minutes, which is pushing it a little bit. Generally, you want a horror movie to be 1 hour and a half. But that doesn't mean anything necessarily. So, at the beginning of the movie, they're walking door to door, these poor Mormon white chicks. Hot, young white chicks. The Mormons, did I say moron? I didn't mean to say that if I did. They're going door to door, and they're being kind of like made fun of. Like, a bunch of girls come and pull down one of their pants and goes, we just want to see if your underwears match. And, they're being mocked for their religion, and I guess they're presented as naive. I mean, how could you not be naive if you think that if you think that a guy could fly 2,000 years ago, there was a superhero like an X-Man who could regenerate and he could fly and come back from the dead. You got to be a little bit naive, but let's not get too much into this. However, I do believe this is a very philosophical movie. It's beautifully filmed. One of them is named Sister Paxton. The other one is named Sister Barnes. Oh, and what's really funny is that when they first knock on Hugh Grant's door, they go, hello, I'm Sister Paxton. I'm Sister Barnes. And Hugh Grant goes, I'm Mr. Rape. And I'm like, wait a second, is that what he didn't say that. And I rewound. And no, he says, he's Mr. Reed. But it is kind of funny, and it would be ingenious if they meant it that way. And they're like, hey, we're here from the Church of Latter-day Saints. And I'm like, I Google it, I'm like, what the hell's that? Mormons. I'm like, who cares? And I think Hugh Grant, his character, Mr. Reed, is thinking the same thing. Oh yeah, whatever, man, whatever, man. Like, same nonsense, different pile, right? Who cares? And for some reason they say they can't come in unless his wife, he's got like a female there. And I guess that's part of the idea of like, you can't, because in case they might want to like bang. But that's part of the religion, I suppose. It's not a bad part of a religion. I mean, if I was a chick, I wouldn't want to be going to a guy's house if he's single, unless you want to like get down, get busy. I mean, we don't want this movie to turn into a porno, right? So we got to make sure this guy's not like, you know, straight or single. And then when they go in after he tells them that his wife is there, or home at least, he offers them pie, and he goes, "Wife is shy, pie is nigh." So I'm wondering if pie is going to show up like as some kind of like, I don't know, is there going to be some kind of theme about pie? And then while they're waiting for the pie, I guess, or for him, there's moths, M-O-T-H-S, like not birds, flies like moths, and they're flocking around. So I'm wondering right now, is there going to be a moth and pie theme already? Is that going to be built upon? And then one of these three characters says that like religion is a personal struggle. And I'm kind of like, yeah, that's why you don't knock on people's door and ask them what their personal spiritual beliefs are. Like, you jerk. If I'm ever approached by some weirdo religious person, I just say, my religion is personal. And then basically there's nothing they can do after that. You just say it's personal. And so that's where we're at, about 12 minutes into this hour and 45 minute long movie. Earlier reviews are saying that this movie's deep, but that's okay because I've got a few pairs of deep pants and I put all of them on. I only need one pair. But here we go. Okay, 15 minutes in. This movie's an hour and 45 minutes. I'm going to comment as I watch. Okay, so he has an entire Book of Mormon that he has like, what do you call those things? They call these, well, I guess we can call them thumbnails. He's like thoroughly read the Book of Mormon like 100 times more than they have. And then he says it's blueberry pie. And then he asks about how one of their fathers died. Oh, that's kind of clever. And then right after he says, how did your father die? He goes, oh, I'm sorry, we were talking about pie. I should mention I'm watching a cam version, so I'm missing some of the dialogue. But then he notices, while they're talking about pie and how her father died, he notices that she's got a scar on her arm, so I guess she's been mutilating? She's a cutter. Okay, then the lights shut off, like there's like a temporary blackout that lasts about 3 seconds, and I guess that's going to come in later. And you realize this guy is just basically like me. I'm 47, Hugh Grant is probably 57. You got two white, innocent chicks in your house, and let this be a warning to all Mormons, don't knock on my door anymore. Because he already is outsmarting them, and he already knows way more about their own religion than they do. And it's amazing that we're only 15 minutes in, and it's already gotten so deep in terms of like, we're talking about like deep subject matter. There's no scares or anything. And then he goes, how do you feel about polygamy? I mean, a man having multiple wives. I can't do an English accent. And it's just like, oh shit. Now, if I was making this movie, and if I was this guy in this movie, I would be like, the reason I ask about how you feel about polygamy is because I would like you both to be my wives. And these two girls are thinking, wow, we really knocked on the wrong door today. Yeah, so 20 minutes in, he's basically just outsmarting them about everything they believe. And now he starts comparing different religions to different types of fast food, which is pretty funny. So far, I love this movie. That they go. He says that he's actually, unfortunately, found the one true religion. And then they're like, okay, well, can we meet your wife? Because that was part of the deal, that they can't go in if he doesn't have a wife. Okay, I'll go get her. And this is a plot twist. This is like, not a plot twist, it's a plot, it's where the plot thickens. What's amazing about this movie is that we're only 20 minutes in and it's already gotten really hardcore, just in terms of like, he's really screwing with their minds. So he briefly comes back, and before then they turn the candle around and it says blueberry pie. I don't know what that means. And now they're trying to leave while he's gone. They're like, we should get the hell out of here. That's usually what happens when I have two Mormons in my home. They're like, this guy's weird. So at 26 minutes, they realize they're locked into the house. They can't get out. So now they're wandering around the house, and I imagine that the deep philosophy's over, and now it's just going to be a horror movie for like half an hour. And then the philosophical part's going to come a little later. Because so far, this movie's been pretty amazing. Okay, so at 30 minutes in, they get to another floor, and there's like a whole church, like an altar and everything. And they're like, yeah, you know, politely, we'd like to leave now. And on this second floor where there's an altar, like a whole church kind of altar thing set up, it's raining inside, like there's a leak. I wonder if that plays into anything. I'm still wondering about the moths and about the blueberry pie. Maybe that was just proof that he was lying because the coffee mug said blueberry pie on it. Maybe that's all there is to it. Okay, so now it gets pretentious where he says, God, okay, you know, it's a bit of a deep movie. He says you can go out one of the two doors, and they're like, which door leads out? And then he's like, which one would you like to lead out? And they're like, well, should we really have a preference? And then they're like, we really want to meet your wife. And he's like, okay, I'll go get her. And then he goes, but tell me this, do you really believe my wife is here? If you've believed all the lies I've told you so far, do you really believe that I've got a wife here? And then, yeah, okay, great, okay. So all the deep talk from the first half hour of the movie's kind of died down now, and now he's just admitting he's a psycho. So I'm imagining the rest of the movie's just going to be a horror movie, just like kind of dumb, but we'll see. Okay, so at 41 minutes, I'm just like, okay, what's going on? He takes out a Monopoly board and starts explaining more crap and saying more philosophies and stuff, and it's just like, okay, where's the horror movie? Where's the horror? Come on. Okay, and then he starts comparing Monopoly to religions. So he says, okay, so there's Judaism, there's Christianity, and then there's I don't even remember. I don't really like religions. What was the third one? It was one of the Muslim ones. And then he compares it, and then there's Monopoly. So, you know what? It's clever. It's really clever. But where's the horror? But this actually proves a thought that I've had for a while, which is that you can masquerade a movie as a certain genre, as long as you've got the horror eventually, or you masquerade it as a comic book movie, like Joker did. And then you can just tell any story you want. So there's probably like no horror in this movie, except for like at the very end, and then they can say it's a horror movie, and they can fit it into that genre, and they could sell it as a horror movie, even though it's got something maybe different or better to say. But of course the danger of that, as Joker 2 found out, is that the fans, the viewers can feel very ripped off. Like it's like clickbait. I thought I was watching a horror movie. Instead, I got a big philosophical, religious thing, right? I thought I was watching The Joker Part 2. Instead, I got a story about a guy going to court. Yeah, 50 minutes into the movie, I feel like I'm being lectured. He just keeps going on about God and, like, the nature of religion. So, if I wanted a lecture, I know where to go for lectures. I listen to them all the time. I thought this was a horror movie, so my guess is like it's going to be 20 more minutes of this crap, and then finally the horror movie begins. An hour into the movie, 45 minutes left, I would just say, like, dude, Hugh Grant, just admit you like these young chicks. That's all you have to admit. Like, you're just a horny dude. You like having company, especially young female company. And that's about it. I mean, you're a pretty smart dude. You know your theology or whatever. But let's be honest here. I mean, I can philosophize with you for 10 hours, but I wouldn't do it unless you're a hot chick. So at first I thought this is a philosophy movie masquerading as a horror movie. But now I'm thinking that it's a horror movie masquerading as a philosophy movie masquerading as a horror movie. Because there's no original philosophical thoughts here. Like, there's nothing really deep here. I didn't even want to mention this, but like, he gives them an option, like 2 doors. One of them says disbelief on them, and the other one says belief on it, and they have to choose which door to enter. And I'm like, I don't know, man. This is like the movie Labyrinth. This is like Dr. Zeus crap. I mean, I'm still waiting for the horror. I mean, like, we're an hour and like we're 2/3 through the movie. Where's the horror part? I mean, there has to be an amazing ending because I don't know. I don't get why this movie's getting so praised. Maybe this movie is fascinating if you're a religious person, and I'm just not a religious person. Or maybe this movie would be fascinating if you've never read a book or had a thought of your own. Maybe this would be really profound. Okay, at an hour and there's about 45 minutes left, I'm going to guess that he's going to like wear like a mask of the devil or something. There's going to be something drastic like that. Okay, I was wrong. Something really cool happened. They went through the door of disbelief and they went down the stairs into like a cave. And then some woman, like looks like a woman covered in a shroud of white, delivers a blueberry pie to them. So there you go. The blueberry pie came back. Okay, and the worst part of the whole movie just started where they start playing the song Creep by Radiohead, which is just so contradictory to the idea that this guy's smart. Because anybody who's cultured, anybody who has any knowledge, anybody who's listened to real music, like classical music, would know that Radiohead sucks and Creep is their worst song. So they're just putting a pop culture song in there, I guess because they know that it'll get more views, it'll get more clicks. And that's fine, I guess. I mean, we all know that's how you make movies these days. You have to like put the popular stuff in. But let's hope there's something good coming. And yeah, so the two girls are in some dungeon, and at this point I don't even care anymore because I don't know, the movie doesn't really know what it is. Like, where's the horror? There's been no horror. Like, I guess I'm expecting him to come down the stairs and say, well, hey, here's the fourth lecture about religion. Did you ever know that Pontius Pilate was a carpenter? Like, he'd just go on about something, and it's like, holy shit, will you shut up? Oh, and so the hot girl of the two of them, they're both hot. But one of them tries to go back up the stairs to the door of disbelief to open it up again, but it's locked. And right, there should be something deep about that. The door of disbelief is locked. But guess what? I'm telling you, there's nothing deep about it. The door is just locked, and that's all there is to it. So the movie's trying to be so deep, but it's not deep. Okay, so they're in the basement, and then some white shrouded figure comes out, and it takes off its shroud, and it's some not deformed, but like a zombie, you know, like a skeletal figure. I guess symbolically it's Hugh Grant's wife that he's been speaking about. And now it gets a little complicated. So the shrouded, ghoulish figure starts eating blueberry pie while Hugh Grant narrates that the Hugh berry pie is spiked with belladonna as well as other poisons. And anybody who knows anything knows that belladonna is a poisonous plant that kills you. So then the ghoulish creature, which is probably his wife, because whose wife isn't a ghoulish creature, dies. And then he says, now you're going to witness the resurrection. Wow. This movie has dovetailed. And I'm wondering if there's going to be another moth reference, because we saw moths at the beginning, so maybe there's going to be a moth thing. And I'm fairly sure what follows is 10 minutes of bullshit. Half an hour left in the movie, you know, I don't know, they're just trying to escape, and one of their friends from the Mormon is at the door. It's all just very, like, who cares? Yeah, this might be a great movie. Maybe I missed something. You know, maybe this is the kind of movie that's so good that you have to watch it twice. I'm undecided. But you know what? The fact that I'm undecided suggests that it probably is a good movie. The best review I could give to a movie, now that I think about it, is I don't know. Because if I don't know, then you definitely don't know. And if I don't know, and often when I think a movie's terrible, like, what's it called, Midsummer, I thought it was horrible the first time I watched it. But then I re-watched it, and I'm like, this movie's awesome. So, it's pretty cool that I don't even know if I like this. So now I think Hugh Grant is questioning the two young chicks about what the resurrected thing said about the afterlife, because I guess he's some kind of like, he's more of a scientist. He just wants to know what the afterlife is like, and that was the whole point of this whole thing, was to like, I don't know. Instinctively, I would say that half an hour of this movie could have been cut out, because at this point I'm a little bit bored. Because, you know, whatever, I'm a product of my time, and, you know, ADD. It's 2024. You can't drag this on for this long, and there was like half an hour where nothing happened. So yeah, this could have been cut, and then it would have been like much better. And I would say the same thing about the movie 2001, which is like my favorite movie by Stanley Kubrick. 120 minutes, an hour and 20 minutes in, I'm just like, okay, this is just getting absurd. I'm not even paying attention anymore. We'll wait for something. He just slit one of the Mormons' throats, and I don't really care. Isn't that sad that I don't even care? Okay, so 20 minutes left, and now the narrative is that it was all bullshit. He faked it all. The whole thing's not true. And it's just like, okay, fine, but you know, that doesn't really work for a full-length movie. Like, it's a bit cheap. You know, this movie keeps getting more distanced from reality. We're down to the last 15 minutes, and I'm like, I don't even care anymore, because anything could happen. The universe could open up. It's gotten so far from, like, I mean, anything can happen now. Okay, so 10 minutes left of the movie. I don't know, she uses a bike lock to go up to the cellar now. She was in the basement before, and now she's going up. It's a beautifully shot movie, but at this point, I don't really care. There's all these like people in cages, and she's unlocking somebody from a cage, but it's just like gone so far from like what I thought. I thought there might have been a coherent idea here, but now I just don't even care anymore. Like, I'm almost ready to just turn it off, but I'll watch the rest just in case there's something cool that's going to happen. But I don't think there is going to be anything cool that happens. But definitely I would rewatch it, because maybe there's something here. Okay, so if we're going to stay on the deep level, she goes, why do you do this? After he cut some person in a cage's finger off. And he goes, no, the question is, why do you let me? And this reminds me of 1984, the book, where he says, real power is hurting other people. So, okay, I get it. Fine. Still, though, it's not the kind of horror movie I wanted to watch. In fact, this isn't really a horror movie. Oh, God. So then she slits his throat, and then, like, I don't know what the hell happens, and then he stabs her. And then I don't know what the hell happens. I don't know what's going on. I guess I have to rewatch it. I don't think I'm going to rewatch it, though. Why? Because there's just not enough here. I mean, there's a few minutes left of the movie, but, I mean, again, it feels like a lecture. This whole movie feels like a lecture. And that's not a good thing. I alluded earlier to the moths. The moths. And at the end, one of the final images of the movie is a butterfly. So that's cool. So I guess they responded to the initial image. And I would say that this movie, the fact that it confused me tells me that it's pretty good. Because I have to be humble once in a lifetime and just say, like, if I'm confused by a movie, that probably means that it's good. But this is not a movie for uneducated people, because it deals with a lot of, like, philosophy and stuff. So you got to be into that in order to enjoy this. This might be a great movie. I'm not sure. I would compare this to Midsummer in the sense that I hated it the first time I watched it, and I thought it was the worst thing I ever saw. And then I changed my mind the second time. And then, even then, I'm like, maybe it still sucks. I don't know. And that's pretty cool when a movie evokes that out of you, out of me. If you support gays, click like. If you respect blacks, comment. If If you think women are people too, click the notification bell. And if you care about sick children, subscribe.